On April 29th, there was a people's brief regarding the preliminary evidence for the preliminary hearing on May 26th. Now that this case is public, we are going to be hearing some gruesome details. I'm giving you a trigger warning now, this is some dark stuff. The dismembered body of 14-year-old Celeste R. victim was discovered in the front of the trunk of David's Tesla Model X on September 8, 2025. The vehicle had been towed 3 days prior from address, and this is big. Surveillance video and other evidence confirm defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29, 2025, before he left Los Angeles on a concert tour. On September 8th, the manager of the tow yard where the Tesla had been impounded noted the strong smell of decay and the presence of flies coming from the vehicle. He notified the LAPD, who determined the Tesla was registered to the defendant through departmental sources. At the tow yard, the LAPD detectives opened the Tesla's front storage compartment and observed a black cadaver bag, which if you don't know what a cadaver bag is, it is literally for dead bodies, covered in insects. Inside the bag, they discovered a severely decomposed head and torso. A plastic garbage bag beneath the black cadaver bag contained the dismembered arms and legs. However, the victim's ring and pinky fingers on her left hand had been amputated and were not found in the Tesla. On September 16th, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner Department positively identified the body from dental records as belonging to the victim. And now they get into the whole story. I'm going to make this as quick as I can. The LAPD homicide detectives determined the victim and the defendant met in January 2022 when she was 11 years old. They began a sexual relationship in November 2023 when the victim was just 13 years old and the defendant was 18. Detectives learned that the victim had been reported missing by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department by her family, So the Sheriff's Department went to his home to do a welfare check on Celeste, and they informed him that she was 13 years old. He claimed he was unaware she was a minor and he had only met the victim once in person in November 2023. However, the defendant showed deputies a yearbook photo of the victim he had on his cell phone. Although he claimed to be unaware of where the victim was at the time, she returned home 2 days later. Despite being informed by law enforcement that the victim was only 13, defendant continued to pursue her. After the victim returned home in February 2024, her parents took her cell phone away. Defendant drove to Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student in the victim's class $1,000 to give the victim a cell phone the defendant purchased so that they could stay in contact. Throughout 2024, the victim spent a significant amount of time with the defendant, including summer weekends at his home in Hollywood Hills and traveling with him to Las Vegas, London, and Texas to meet his family. Texts between the victim and defendant contain references to sex, pregnancy, abortion, and the use of a Plan B emergency contraceptive. There are also explicit photographs documenting and corroborating their sexual relationship. In November 2024, the defendant and the victim broke up, although they continued to communicate, and text messages suggest they also continue to have relations. April 23rd is likely the date of the victim's death and when all her cellular activity